Welcome to the Sportscast. October 10th, 2018. A big week in college football. A few losses by big teams. A few surprises. And we have a big game coming up. And to join us, we got Ty Turner. Welcome to the Sportscast.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, Ty. You were mentioning, like in our chat, that there were a few teams that have lost, and that might affect, could affect like the whole rankings.
Explain.
Well, for example, like Oklahoma losing, against Texas.
Yep. You mean, in fact, what are you referencing exactly?
A few top teams that are ranked high, that lost against lower ranked teams.
Yep.
And there were a few of those.
What do you mean affect the ranking? You mean as far as the AP rankings,
the AP
playoff
poll.
rankings? What rankings? It did affect the AP poll. There definitely was a lot of movement in the AP poll. So definitely, anytime you lose, you're probably going to go down, and a team that wins is going to go up. So yeah, it definitely affected the rankings in the polls, most definitely.
Let's start with Texas and Oklahoma. Texas defeated 48-45. How significant was this?
It was a significant victory in that Texas got a big victory. They saw great movement in the poll. I think going up to 9 was a little ridiculous. For one, they have one of the worst losses by a top 25 team in losing to a very average Maryland team. And Maryland's average. That's a team that probably won't even make a bowl game. So you have to take that loss into consideration, along with the fact that Texas looked good. They won the game, but then they almost blew it. If they didn't kick the field goal in there and it went to overtime, I would be pretty sure that Oklahoma was going to win because they had the momentum on their side. But Texas was able to pull out the victory. They did some very, very good things, but I'm not buying Texas as a playoff team. I just am not. And I think it'll take care of itself. I think they will lose a game to West Virginia or a game to someone else or in the Big 12 championship, maybe to Oklahoma or West Virginia. I think they're a good team. I think they have some good talent. I think they have a solid quarterback play, but I think they're inconsistent, especially defensively. They give up a lot of big plays. And it was a good victory. It was a good victory for them. If anything, it hurt Oklahoma more than anything because Oklahoma now, if they lose another game, they're out of the playoffs. So I kind of said this last week, and I'm going to offer the same sentiment. I don't think the Big 12 is going to get a team in the playoffs.
I don't think so either.
I just think West Virginia has no losses, but they also look terrible against Kansas. And I think they're going to lose to maybe Texas, maybe Oklahoma. They're basically going to play either Texas or Oklahoma, one combination probably 3 times. Or they'll play Texas or Oklahoma twice, and then they play the other one once. So they'll have 3 games there, and they're not going to win all those games. I think they lose 2. I think Texas could end up losing 2. I could see Oklahoma losing 2. I could see the Big 12 champion losing 2. I just don't think that conference is going to have a playoff team, and I don't think it should. I don't think the defense win championships, and there's no defense going on in the Pac-12 right now. Obviously, Oklahoma fired the defensive coordinator after the game, so I do not think that a Big 12 team will go out to the playoffs. Believe it or not, I think people are saying Pac-12 is done. I think there's a better chance the Pac-12 puts a team in the playoffs. And I think it's because of the defensive side of the ball. Because Washington and Oregon can play a little bit of defense. And Oregon has kind of that wild card in that they have one of the best quarterbacks in college football. So I just think I just think if you're going to pick between the Pac-12 and the Big 12, I think the Pac-12 has a better chance.
I agree.
But I could see but I could see them both being left out. That being said, I could definitely see a scenario where neither the Pac-12 or the Big 12 gets team in. So
let's move to the SEC. Florida defeated LSU 27-14. That was a nail biter.
Yeah, it was a close game. Was it 27-14?
I think
it was 27. They won. I think they won by 8 points.
Let me
it's like 22-14, or no, I think it was 28-20.
27-19. Sorry, 27-19.
No, 27-19. Okay, yeah. I knew it was something. It was a great game. It was a competitive game. A lot of good defense. I know LSU had some injuries on the offensive line. LSU's kind of who I thought they were. They're not a great offensive team. They never are. I don't know why that is, but and Florida's a good defensive team. They're not a great offensive team, but Dan Mullen made some timely play calls, some big plays on defense. The guy took a pick six at the end of the game. It was a good victory by Florida. I mean, I think these are two teams that are going to probably be 9-3, 8-4-ish when the year ends, but I think it's a good game. It's a good victory by Florida, and I hope that they can build off that. And who knows? Maybe they upset Georgia in a rivalry game. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Which LSU dropped 8 spots. They went from 6th to from 5th to 13th place. That's pretty significant.
To be honest with you, like, the polls are fun because it gives you kind of like parameter. You see your team ranked. You kind of like get all happy. But the only poll that matters is the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
And so up until then, you see teams flying up and down and around. But we don't know when the college football playoff, they don't do it like that. They look at the schedule. They look at how the matchups work. They look at the offense. They look at the defense. They look at the metrics. It's much better. And you could all of a sudden be, have your AP poll and they're like, oh, they're this. Why are they flying up here? And then all of a sudden you see the college football playoff and a team that is 13th by the AP poll is number 7 in the college football playoff. And a team that's number 7 in the AP poll is all of a sudden like 15 in the college football playoff. So let's take this with a grain of salt. I think at the end of the day, you have to look at the product on the field. You can't ever deny the eyeball test. You look at the product. You look at the offense. You look at the defense. You look at the special teams. You look at the players, like who they have on all levels. The defensive line, the linebackers, the front 7, the secondary, the wide receiver groupings, the quarterback play. And you look at the coaching staff. And so there's so many elements you look at that have to come into play when picking. There's a human element to it. But I would say if you have a team that plays good defense, that has a good quarterback, that has a good coaching staff, stuff like that, it's a team that's going to probably stay true to the test. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, like for instance, Texas. Let's go with Texas. In my opinion, they don't quite pass the eyeball test. Ellinger's a good quarterback. He's not great. He's a good kind of a Tim Tebow-ish guy, but he's not as good as Tebow. Defensively, they're okay, but they give up big plays. There's some breakdowns, whether it be at the line, even in secondary. So it was a funny story. The only thing is, their big cornerback, Chris Boyd, who is considered an NFL. My uncle was his coach in high school. So funny thing there. So keep an eye on Chris Boyd. He's a good player. His brother also plays linebacker for Texas. But sorry, but anyways, going back to what I was talking about. There's definitely I the same with Oklahoma. They're just like defensively they're not good. It's not a good defensive team. And then Kyler Murray's good, but do I think Kyler Murray? He made a couple of bad interceptions. He had a bad fumble. I don't know if he's a guy that you can count on to win you a big game against big competition. So, and then the same with West Virginia. I'm not buying them as an entire team. And it's the eyeball test. It's more than anything. Whereas like a team like Notre Dame passes the eyeball test, to be honest. They play good defense. They have solid quarterback play. They have a couple good running backs. They have a good offensive line. They have a couple really good receivers. They're a pretty good team. So even if like a Notre Dame is one loss against a one-loss Texas, what I see, and if you look at all levels, I think Notre Dame would beat Texas. You never know, but so I think that's what you have to look at. And the thing about LSU is they don't pass the eyeball test. They have a good defense. They have a good secondary. They have always good front seven people. But offensively, they're anemic. Their wide receivers drop passes. Joe Burrow is not a great passer. He's inconsistent. Their offensive line, for one, is not very healthy right now. And even when they are healthy, they're not an elite offensive line. They have good running backs. But when your offensive line, receivers, and quarterback play is not great, then I don't know if you can buy that team. You can almost pretty much guarantee they're going to lose 3-4 games. The same for Florida. I'm sorry. Florida has an average quarterback. They don't have great offensive line play. They have some good receivers. And they have a couple good running backs. The guy made some nice plays, making stuff out of nothing. But I like them defensively, but offensively they're not great. They're going to lose games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The same with Kentucky. Kentucky doesn't pass the eyeball test. Their offense is not that good. Kentucky, plain and simple, does not have a good offense. They have a very good defense. But you have to have some semblance of an offense. Whereas like a Georgia or Alabama, oh my gosh, I don't know. It's discouraging.
Who can stop them, Tyler? Who can stop Alabama
so
right now?
Good. The receivers are just incredible. Tua Tagovailoa is a great quarterback. I mean, I want to say he's not, but just that'd be an accurate assessment.
Is he better than Justin Herbert?
They're great. Is better in what? Well, what do you mean?
Overall quarterback.
Talent, no. I mean, if you would line them up at a combine and they would go against each other, Herbert's going to be the first guy picked every time. He's much bigger. He has a better arm. I think I showed with the passes. I mean, whereas Tua relies heavily. He's very instinctive. He processes very well. I mean, he knows where he's going. And he knows that he has guys that are better than your guys, and he knows where he's going with that ball, and he does it. And you have to love that. Now, the thing is, what would Tua do if he didn't have the receivers that he knew were going to beat the guys? Would he then be able to make plays when maybe his guys aren't open? He does move well in the pocket. He's instinctive in the pocket. And so he does do a lot of things well. But, for instance, the one pass he threw, which was very comparable to the one pass that Justin Herbert threw, the receiver for Herbert was not necessarily open. The safety got over the top. The safety read the play. The other safety went over the top. Herbert literally threw the ball between the two safeties, and if he did not throw a pass like that, the ball would either be knocked down or picked off. Well, Tua threw a pass, and it was the same pass, but it had a bigger arc on it. That arc, if it would have been like the same pass pattern, same players in the game as the one Herbert threw, the ball would have been knocked down because they had too much of an arc on it. The D-back would have been able to get his hand in there. But Tua's guy absolutely burned. The safety even read it, but the guy, I believe it was Judy. Judy just burned him because Judy's a freaking stud, and it didn't matter that it had arc on it when he had 3 steps. Well, in the NFL, that guy is not going to get that much separation more than likely. That means Herbert's pass in the NFL is still a completion because it didn't really matter about the separation of the receiver. It mattered about how he got the ball there, whereas Tua's ball is not a completion. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you go by arm talent, if you go by size, if you go by those kind of metrics, those kind of natural talents, Herbert's better. He's just better. I mean, he's better than anyone in college football. That's why he's running away with QB1. The thing that people wondered about Herbert is, can he process well? How does he do when he gets rushed? is he consistently accurate on the short and intermediate passes? Is everything a fastball? He's gotten better. I don't know if he processes as quickly as Tua, because Tua looks like he knows his guy's going to beat you guy, so he knows where he's going with the ball. His guy consistently beats the other guy, so therefore Tua is always right. See what I'm saying? Whereas Herbert doesn't know if his receivers are going to beat the guy, because honestly, his receivers don't always beat. And I'm telling you, this week against Washington, I don't think his receivers are going to beat the corners. Those are two of the best corners in college football, in Miles Bryant and Miles Bryant, Jordan Miller, and Byron Murphy. So we'll see if he has a ridiculous game like he's had the last 2 weeks against that talented secondary, with the kind of lack of talent he has at the receiver position. I mean, there's no arguing that he's the best quarterback in college football. I think right now the argument between Herbert and Tua is not as much potential as, is Tua really as good as his numbers and how he looks? Because his talent on his side of the ball consistently is significantly better than the opposition. And I don't know maybe LSU, maybe Georgia, they have some talented guys, but can they consistently stop that type of talent? And Tua's going to get it there. Tua's going to get it done. He's by far the greatest quarterback I've ever seen for Alabama. So that's more the mystery. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if anyone can stop him. Maybe. I mean, if it is, it will have to be an LSU, it'll have to be a Georgia, it'll have to be like Ohio State, or a Clemson in the playoffs, because no one else has enough talent to stay with those guys. I mean, they go 5 deep, and Jalen Waddle doesn't even start. Jalen Waddle would be the number one receiver for pretty much any other college in college football. I mean, the guy's ridiculous. I remember him in high school. He actually was between Oregon, Alabama, and A&M for his college choice. No one could guard him. I mean, he was at the U.S. Army All-American making 5 stars look like they were 2 stars. So, I mean, and that guy doesn't start. It's crazy, right? A guy that good doesn't start because Judy, Knox, and Delon Smith are that good, and then you have a great running backs in Damian Harris and Najee Harris. And that's to go along with one of the best offensive lines in college football. It's just crazy. That offense is ridiculous.
Well, let's talk about that debate. Will continue for the rest of the season. We'll see what happens. Let's preview Oregon and Washington. Oregon is 2 other starters are coming back. I mean, 2 other players are coming back. Austin Falua and backup quarterback Braxton Burmeister. Ready for this big game this weekend?
Yep. Correction, Burmeister's probably 3rd string, so he's not backup.
Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully 3rd string. He's atrocious. Yeah, don't get me on that one. Yeah, it's huge. This is the biggest rivalry in the. I think I can never say rivalry right. I sound like blah 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 blah.
This is it for Oregon. Anyways, this is it. This is pretty much a must win.
Well, it's a must win for Washington too. It's a must win for both teams. It doesn't matter. I mean, if the winner of this game is the only possible shot of the Pac-12 getting some. Well, you could say Colorado's 5-0. Colorado's not going to the college football playoff, and they're going to lose 2-3 games. So let's forget that one. And so the South is going to have whoever wins the South is going to be 3-4. How many losses? So it's going to either be Oregon or Washington. The winner still could get in the college football playoff. The winner probably is going to win the North. You still got Washington State and Stanford hanging around. But it's the biggest rivalry in the Pacific Northwest. These guys hate each other. Oregon won 12 games in a row from 2005 to 2016. And then the last 2, Washington has destroyed Oregon, like literally destroyed them, 49 points in 2016. 35 points in 2017. The games have not even been remotely competitive. Oregon wants revenge. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna smash the Huskies. Smash them. But anyways, it's gonna be a fun game. It's smash them. But I'm telling you right now, the game is won or lost by Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. It really is that plain and simple. Jake Browning is Jake Browning. He's a consistent quarterback. He's an experienced quarterback, 4th year as a starter. But he's not going to win or lose the game. I mean, we've seen enough of Jake Browning to see he won't win or lose the game. Washington will make plays. They have some good receivers. Aaron Fuller, Tyus Jones, Chico McClatcher, I think it's Andre Bichette. They have 4 good receivers. They have Myles Gaskin and Salvin Ahmad in the backfield. They have some good running backs. They're going to score points. They're going to make plays. But the game's going to be won by Justin Herbert. And more so this game than any other, because this is the best defense he will face all year. This is the best secondary he's going to face all year. And his receiving corps is what they are. Dylan Mitchell's been good. The rest are average players. So it's going to be won or lost by Justin Herbert. Does he come out and do Justin Herbert things? Does he make plays that only he can make? And if he does, Oregon wins. Plain and simple. And if he doesn't, and Washington is able to make some bad decisions, get a couple picks, make him turn the ball over, and make someone else beat them, I think Washington would win. So it's a great game. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun, and yeah, I'm excited for it. 2:30.
No,
2:30 Central.
Yeah,
2:30 Central.
2:30 Central, 3:30 p.m. That's a big game of the weekend, I think, and that really, I think that game might decide the Pac-12 North.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, Stanford and Washington State are still in it, but yeah, I think the winner is going to come out of this game. Yep.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Ready for some predictions?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. Georgia at LSU.
I just, I was kind of leaning. I was thinking LSU might get it, but I just don't like them offensively. I think Georgia has a little too much of too good of all around team. I'm going to take Georgia.
Georgia. Michigan at Wisconsin.
This game's going to be boring. It's the game of the week for game day. It's in Michigan. I don't love either team offensively. Both teams play very good defense. I am going to take Michigan. It's in Michigan. So.
Florida at Vanderbilt.
Florida.
Okay. Missouri at Washington. No, Missouri at Alabama. Sorry.
Missouri at Washington. Am I missing something? I think Missouri wins it.
Ooh. What? No.
I think. Which one, honey? This one. This one? Okay, hold on.
It's okay, it's okay.
Which one, honey? Okay. Do you want this one, honey? Do you want this? Okay, hold on. My dog.
It's okay. I'll just read some headlines, and you just, once you're ready, just come back.
Yeah.
We got a few important things happening in sports. Jamal Charles is coming back to play football. He'll be playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Heat want to restart Butler talks. He's still up in limbo. Preseason has begun. Big Ben says Bell should return. Bell return shouldn't mean no to Connor. Connor's doing really well this season. Deion Sanders' son gets offer from Florida State, so it should be a good. He should be good, hopefully, because Deion Sanders was great. Let's see.
I like that one. Sorry, I'm listening to your headline. Sweetie, I'm doing something right now. Pick this. No, pick this. I'm not doing it.
Okay.
For the record, I have 2 children. I have a son. He is absolutely just like chill, kind of like go with the flow, like not very computational. He's a little crabby once in a while, but he's a 4-year-old, expect it. And then I have a daughter. She's like in your face incessantly, wants her way incessantly, not easygoing. I could say left, she will want to go right. I'll tell her to get out of bed, she'll want to go to bed. I could tell her to get out in the car, and it's just like, she is a absolute handful. So, just moral of the story, I have to sometimes I feel like I need a refresher from my daughter. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's a lot of personality, but my goodness, she's one of a kind. Anyways, going back to what we were saying, I don't know if Deion Sanders, I like how you said Deion Sanders' kid's going to be good because he's good. I don't know. I think that was a little bit of a reach. I don't think he's that good. Anyways, okay, going back to the predictions.
Yeah. Missouri, Alabama. I think you were kidding, but I think you meant Alabama.
Yeah, I was kidding. I am interested to see. Okay, so basically, it seems like Justin Herbert, if he declares, is going to be QB1. I mean, pretty much every scout right now: Kuiper, McShay, Matt Miller, Dan Jeremiah. Pretty much them all are saying that. But there's still a few people that say Drew Lock a little bit here and there. He didn't look good against Georgia. He didn't look good against South Carolina. Now he gets to play Alabama. So the only thing I'm interested in is if he's unable to do anything against Alabama, I don't even know if I'm beginning to wonder if there's anyone other than Herbert who still might not declare that's even worthy of being a first-round quarterback next year. So I think this is kind of the last audition for Drew Lock to prove that. So that's about the only interesting thing about that game. Otherwise, it's going to be like 90-0.
Which NFL team you think Herbert will be a good fit at?
Well, okay. Well, right now, if the draft went today, guess who would be picking number one? I mean, it's 5 games in the season, but if the draft was going to happen today, guess who picks number one?
The Giants.
Yes. Well, what do the Giants need?
A quarterback.
Yeah, and pretty much are mad that they didn't pick one last year. Remember, they traded up to draft Saquon Barkley. If Herbert, I have a hard time seeing. Some people don't think he is going to declare. A lot of people within Oregon, people that even know the family, says he's not. If they look, for instance, the Giants has the first pick, they're going to draft a quarterback. Herbert's the number one quarterback. He's the only one that is pretty much almost a foregone conclusion. How does he not leave to be the number one player drafted? I highly doubt he would not declare knowing he's the number one pick. But you never know.
You never know. Tua might be number one. It just depends on the club. I mean, the club could have a different direction.
Dude, you keep on saying that, Santiago. Santiago, I've told you 100 times. Tua can't declare this year.
Oh, sorry.
No, Tua can't declare. So
maybe
Tua's
next
not
year.
Even an option.
2 years.
Yeah.
If Herbert,
Tua can't declare. It's actually illegal for Tua to declare. You have to be in college 3 years. I think I've told you that like 100 times. Yeah, that's fine.
I really want him. Want him to go to the NFL.
You obviously do, but he's not going to the NFL. Sorry, he's going to be in Alabama for 2 more years. So if Herbert stays, then the next year the Tua Herbert debate from whoever the first quarterback. But as far as this year, it is Herbert and everyone else. So you see what I'm saying?
Which is not much in the mix either.
No. But the Giants, you got the Broncos. They have to be leaning towards a quarterback.
And the Dolphins.
Philip Rivers is getting old, so you have to think the Chargers, and Tannehill and Dolphins. So you have 4 or 5 teams that probably would draft. If they fall within the top 10, would draft quarterback, and it's going to be Herbert. But I'm telling you, it's like as of right now, it's very 50-50 if he's going to leave. I just have a hard time, especially if he's going to be the number one pick, seeing him come back. But you never know.
Back to predictions. Washington at Oregon.
Oregon. I think it's going to be a great game. But I think Herb makes enough plays, and I think they take it like 28-24. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as someone would expect, but I think because of the play of Justin Herbert, they're able to take that victory. And then are in the driver's seat for the North.
NFL, Eagles at the Giants.
I think the Eagles, Giants are not good. Eagles, they've not had a great year so far, but I think ultimately they're going to get it done. And they looked better last week. Wentz is starting to come back from his ACL surgery, but so the Eagles.
Yeah, and that's a rivalry. Like those two teams are pretty close to each other. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals.
The Steelers are starting to play a little bit better. The Bengals have had actually a very good year. I think Steelers could take it. Bengals have had a solid year, but I think the Steelers take it.
Yeah, which I believe Dalton's having a good start so far, so we'll see what happens. The Bears at the Dolphins.
Bears have been pretty good, man.
Trubisky.
They're good defensively. And their only loss was to the Packers, where they basically had that game in the bag if it was not for Rodgers' heroics. So I think the Bears are pretty good.
I'll pick Miami on that one.
Great defense, especially with Dolphins haven't looked great the last couple weeks.
No, they haven't. Anyways, that's a whole different show. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Dallas Cowboys.
Tell you what, Jaguars are not looking great, especially offensively. I wonder if they should move on from Blake Bortles. That could be another team. But they won't be drafting. I think they're going to get into the playoffs, so I don't think they'll be drafting that high. Yeah. So I don't know. But moral of the story, I'm going to go sorry, who are they playing?
They're playing the Cowboys in Dallas.
Did the Cowboys? Okay, I missed it. Did they come? Who won that Houston-Texas game that went into overtime?
By a point, Houston.
Oh, Houston won. Okay, Dallas is not having a great year. I'm gonna take the Jaguars. Man, I don't know. They've not looked good a couple times this year.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think they'll be back on track. The Chiefs at the Patriots. This is the game of the weekend besides Washington, Oregon, but Kansas City and New England.
That's a good game. New England is playing better, especially Josh Gordon. Getting him was a huge pickup. I am going to take the Chiefs because no one's beaten them yet. Patrick Mahomes has been absolutely amazing this year. I'm gonna take the Chiefs.
And finally, the San Francisco 49ers at Green Bay.
Green Bay? Oh, Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean,
Green Bay. Man, they blew Sunday's game. 4 missed field goals, a missed extra point, a muffed punt. They dominated that game statistically. That was a bet. Green Bay, I tell you what, if they don't make the playoffs this year, Mike McCarthy is gone.
Yeah.
I have never met a coach in history that is good. He wouldn't have a job. He would have been fired years ago if it wasn't for the fact that he went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, 2 Hall of Famers. So I think this is his last rodeo. I think he's done less with having the best quarterback in football. So if they somehow miss the playoffs this year, it's that song. Bye bye, sweet baby. I don't know what song that is, but anyway, think of a song, whatever. Another one bites the dust. I don't know, but McCarthy's gone. I've honestly thought he's been the luckiest coach in the history of maybe the NFL.
He's sitting pretty in Green Bay.
Yeah, because anytime you've really needed him to win games, he's lost them. Seattle Seahawks, he lost that game with his pathetic play calling. Anyway, don't get me started. But yes, I think Green Bay wins. It's not a great San Francisco team. Jimmy G's obviously gone for the season. So, yeah. Hey, it's funny, if you follow on Twitter, because I've just been putting in, obviously, Herbert's my dude, so I put in his name. It's funny, all the teams are, wanting him, and some teams it's like, dude, you just got a quarterback. Do you want to get rid of him already? San Francisco fans are calling for Herbert. I'm like, you just signed Jimmy G.
Yeah, you gotta stick with Jimmy G.
I'm like, man, the NFL's rough. I mean, you sign a guy, he tears his ACL a couple games in, and you want to get rid of him? I'm like, my goodness. But anyways.
And finally, random question, what is your favorite thing to have with pumpkin? Pumpkin pie, PSL?
To have with PSL? What's that?
Pumpkin spice latte, yeah.
I'm not a huge pumpkin fan. I guess pumpkin pie.
There you go. You don't eat dessert no more, right?
No, I eat dessert. I eat dessert, but not that much. But yeah, pumpkin's not my thing.
Anyways. Pumpkin.
Have you heard my daughter screaming out there the whole time?
Not really. Like, the background is okay. It's
All right.
not that crazy. No, it's fine. I mean, she could be on the show anytime she wants, to be honest. Keep things more entertaining.
No, not for me. It might be entertaining for you.
Oh, and did you watch the UFC fight last Saturday?
I saw highlights. I read how the fight went. Obviously, however you say his name, Khabib submitted Conor in the fourth round. I'm starting to think Conor's overrated. He is not, plain and simple, he is not good on the ground, which is part of MMA. He's not good on the ground. He got submitted by Nate Diaz. He got submitted by Khabib. Every time if you can take his shots, he's a good boxer for an MMA, and he's a good kickboxer. But if you can take his shots, you can beat him. You can get him on the ground, and he's not good on the ground. So, and of course the melee that happened afterwards, Khabib fighting with someone outside the ring, is ridiculous. I think Dana White, he needs to get more control of the UFC.
I agree.
He right now is letting it turn. Yeah, he's letting it turn into that, and honestly, he's kind of turning a blind eye. He's kind of acting a little bit like he's kind of acting like, I don't know.
He's making tons of money. He doesn't care anymore.
No, but he needs to grow a pair of balls, because it's going to start affecting his business. He's going to end up having to pay a bunch of lawsuits, and then he will care. Because I think Dana White likes money, because that's obviously why he keeps on having Conor McGregor, because Conor makes a lot of money. But I think Conor, personally, I think Conor's overrated. And I think he was good, a good fighter. He brought a lot of, like, the trash talk and personality of the game, but I think he's not that hungry anymore.
Yeah,
he has not looked impressive in the last couple of matches, and I think he's close to being done. And yeah.
He's made all the money. By the way, you have boxed. Have you done MMA?
I was an MMA. No, I never did MMA. I used to train MMA guys how to box, and I have cornered MMA fights.
Okay, well.
So I would do the hands for the corner, and then another guy would do the ground. And I've never lost. I was like 3-0 with guys. No, for real. Because my guys wouldn't go to the ground. They were such good boxers that they would just outbox them, and they were naturally good enough on the ground that they could keep the guy at bay, and then they got it back on their feet. And when it got into hands competition, my guys were very successful. So,
well, there you have it. Well, Ty, how can people reach you?
Is it? What is my Twitter?
Your Twitter's Tyler Turner MPLS.
Yeah, then you tell them, because I didn't even know what it was. Okay.
He used to be TT Turner.
Reach there.
And he's also on Instagram.
It used to be that. It used to be TT Turner. I changed it. So that's why the confusion.
And don't forget to follow us on YouTube and Periscope and iTunes. If you're in iTunes, please leave a rating and review. And that's it for the Sportscast. We have a big weekend this weekend in sports. 2 big games, Kansas City, New England, Washington, Oregon. Things are going to ravel up a little bit. Tyler, thanks for coming on to the Sportscast.
All right, see you later, man.